An entrepreneur. So, provocative title. What does tennis star Naomi Osaka, commend her incredible talent in France just this past week? What does Naomi Osaka and urban African American, mostly men, but women too, and officers have to do with each other in the U.S.? The obvious response might be it's racism. No, not necessarily so. There's a tinge of racism, surely. It's more class and power. What do I mean by that? What's in common with all of these stories of police officers and blacks that they pull over, and what happened with Naomi Osaka is this. You have, and I'm generalizing here, but unfortunately it sticks, an older, generally speaking, white male in a position of authority and power who's been in that position of power most of their adult life, used to talking at people, not with them. Now they've got somebody talking, they would say, back at them, who they believe, I guess, are below them. In the case of Naomi, because she's even of mixed race, Japanese and black, it's the female situation in France, not exactly the heartbeat of gender equality, saying basically, how dare you talk back to me, young lady? So before you jump on that, let me give you an example of how this is absolutely the case. If that was Becker, the tennis star Becker, or a range of other male white tennis stars who said, I don't want to talk to the media today, I'm just not feeling it, they might say, hey, you might get fined for this. Can we have a conversation with you? And there's one of these tennis stars, forget his name. I think it might have been Andre Agassi. No, I'm sure I got that wrong. You'll put in the notes which one it is. But one of them curses. We used to curse everybody out, right? No one ever threatened to ban him from sports. In fact, if he'd have cursed him out, they say, oh, okay, look, we'll talk to you about this tomorrow. Or can we have a meeting about this and discuss you talking to the media? It would have been a discussion. It would have been, negotiations. But this went with Osaka. It went from, we're going to fine you $15,000 for not talking to the French press, to within a couple hours later, maximum, we're going to kick you out of the French Open. What the heck are you talking about? That is literally somebody basically saying, how dare you? Do you know who you're talking to? You're lucky to be here, young. Essentially, that's what I'm saying. You're lucky that we even allow you to be here. Essentially, you're not my equal. You're lucky to have this conversation. And they lost their mind temporarily, but that would have never happened with a white male tennis star. Now, the police officers are pulling over these young black men. These young black men are starting to assert their rights. Mr. Officer, can you please tell me why I was pulled over? Can you please? I just saw a video. He was a young Ethiopian, I think it was Ethiopian immigrant, African immigrant, sitting in a parking lot waiting for somebody who he dropped off at a department store. He was sitting, I guess, in a safety zone. Police were called because he's sitting in the safety zone. It's on video. Young man says, officer, I'm sorry, would I do anything wrong? Why'd you stop me? Within 20 seconds of that interaction, he's being tased, thrown against the unit, against his taxi, and saying, stop resisting. You can clearly see the guy's not resisting, but he is asking questions. What did I do wrong? Why can't we talk about this? Why are you in my face? Why did you now pull me out of the car? Why are you essentially arresting me? They arrested him for resisting arrest. Of course, they dropped the charges. This is just crazy, right? This is crazy. And it is basically, once again, you got these officers who are basically saying, I've got a badge, I've got a gun, I'm older white male, and I'm used to everybody jumping when I say jump. How dare you question my authority? How dare you ask me a question? Who do you think you are? Is essentially what's going on. Look, let me explain something to you. The world has changed, everybody. No one's pushing anybody out. There's room in America for everybody, even on the issue of diversity and inclusion. White people are never going to miss out from opportunity. First of all we're talking about is expanding the table and adding a chair, to quote my friend Stephanie Rule, white female, I might add, to expand the table and add a chair. That's it, which means everybody is going to win because the GDP, the economy, is going to expand when you include more talented people in it. Even the racist wins when you invest in black businesses and the economy expands because everybody benefits from a growing GDP, a growing economy. There's not been a 55-year-old college-educated white man who wanted to apply himself has ever failed in America, right? That hasn't happened in the history of this country. It's not going to happen now. All right, so stop feeling fearful that somehow black people asserting themselves in the most decent, reasonable way possible is somehow a threat to anybody else. It's not, and that's not the intention. They're simply saying, I have a right to know why are you asking me. On the other hand, I really don't want to do this. Can we talk this through like happens with everybody else? You might recall, by the way, in contrast to the young man in a police car, being dragged out of a police car for asking a question and beat or worse, killed in the course in some of these cases, is the young white man who shot somebody, had a long form high impact rifle, who was walking down this middle of the street. All this is on tape now. Walks right past the SWAT unit, with guns drawn. Walks right past a police officer, talks to them, basically says, "Have a nice day," and goes home. He had just shot somebody. Can you imagine if that was a young black man? Look, I'm not excitable. I'm not like some nutcase talking about a chip on my shoulder because everything's racist and racial. No, I'm telling you this is common sense. And we need to knock it off. That there are clear biases. And look, if you're smart and you're Caucasian and you're male today, you can still be in charge. We don't have any problem with you being in charge. But you cannot just be white alone anymore and in charge. You got to be white and intelligent, white with the right answer, white and thoughtful, white and considerate, white and smart. By the way, isn't that common sense? The same thing would be the case for black people or Latinos or women. It's just equality. You cannot just be white and be right. You've got to be white, black, right, red, brown, and yellow, and have the right idea. I'm out. John O'Brien. Hope this has been interesting.